Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Students, how are you? Today we are going to learn about taxonomic hierarchies in biological classification system. Thousands of years ago, the Greek philosopher Aristotle developed the first widely accepted biological classification system. Aristotle used morphological characters to classify plants into what? Plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. Aristotle also used divide animal into two groups based on whether those animals have red blood cells or not. Simply, he classified animals into two. That is what? Whether those animals have red blood cells or not. It was useful for when Aristotle grouped some organisms that had very little in common. For example, he grouped birds because birds can fly. He grouped bats and flying insects because they can what? Fly. Later on the 1700s, a Swedish botanist, that is Carlos Linnaeus, who is the father of taxonomy, introduced taxonomic hierarchy, domain, kingdom, into what? A species. This is what? Taxonomic hierarchy of classification. Carlos Linnaeus was the first person to propose an orderly system for classifying what? Organisms. Taxonomic hierarchy is what? Arranging various organisms into successive level, into hierarchy level of the biological classification, either in a decreasing or increasing order. In the linear classification system or in the linear classification method, all organisms are placed in a ranked hierarchy, in the domain, in the class, in the order, to the end of the species. The kingdom is the highest. The kingdom encompasses many different organisms. This is what the kingdom is what? The highest one. That is why it encompasses or it includes many different organisms. Followed by what? Class, order, family, genus, into the end of species. Each rank in a taxonomic hierarchy termed what? Taxon. In the plural form, taxa. So, division is a taxa. Class, order, family, genus, and species what? A taxa. Linnaeus developed a two-kingdom classification system. Broadly, he uses what? Kingdom Animalia and Kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Animalia encompasses all animals, and Kingdom Plantae encompasses or includes all plants. This system did not distinguish between eukaryotes. They are also eukaryotic organisms. They are also prokaryotes. They are also unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms, photosynthetic green algae organisms are there also. But green algae are not included in plants. And the other is non-photosynthetic organisms are also present. Those are fungi. Those cannot be included in Carlos Linnaeus' system of classification. Nowadays, in the broadest level, biologists divide the diversity of life into three domains. ሕይወት ያላቸውን ነገሮች በዚህ ሰዓት በዚህ ዘመን ባዮሎጂስቶች በሶስት ከፍለዋቸዋል። አንደኛው ምንድነው? ባክቴሪያ። ባክቴሪያዎች በአይነታቸው በጣም ብዙ ናቸው። እነሱን ማጥናትም ያስፈልጋል። ለምን? ባክቴሪያዎች በተለያየ አጋጣሚ የሰው ልጅ ሆነ ሌሎች ሕይወት ያላቸውን ነገሮች አፌክት ተጽዕኖ ያሳድራል ስለሆነ መጠናት አለበት። ሕይወት ያላቸው ነገሮች በሙሉ በሶስት ተከፈሉ። ምንድነው? ባክቴሪያ፣ አርኪያ በከፍተኛ ሁኔታ የሚኖሩት ሌሎች የተለመዱ ሕይወት ያላቸው ነገሮች በማይኖሩበት አጋጣሚ፣ ለምሳሌ በከፍተኛ ሁኔታ ከፍተኛ የሆነ ሙቀት ባለበት አካባቢ ወይም ቅዝቃዜ ባለበት አካባቢ የሚኖሩ ናቸው። ሌላው ህይወት ያለው ነገር ምድብ ደግሞ ዩካሪያ ነው። ዩካሪያ from unicellular to multicellular ያሉ ነገሮችን በሙሉ ያጠቃልላል። Domain is the rank above what? Kingdom. Every organism on earth belongs to one of these three domains. ሁሉም ህይወት ያለው ነገር በዓለም ላይ ያለ ህይወት ያለው ነገር በሙሉ ምን ሊሆን ይችላል? በባክቴሪያ ውስጥ ሊመደብ ይችላል፣ በአርኪያ ውስጥ ሊመደብ ይችላል፣ ወይም በዩካሪያ ውስጥ ሊመደብ ይችላል። ለምሳሌ እኔን ብትወስዱ በባክቴሪያ ውስጥ ነው የምመደበው? በአርኪያ ውስጥ ነው ወይስ በዩካሪያ? እኔ መልቲ ሴሉላር ኦርጋኒዝም ስለሆንኩ በዩካሪያ ውስጥ ነው ማለት ነው የምመደበው። ሶ ህይወት ያለው ነገር ባዮሎጂስቶች በሶስት ከፍለውታል: ባክቴሪያ፣ አርኪያ and eukarya. Every organism on earth belongs to one of these three domains. The first two domains, that is what? Bacteria and archaea, identify two very different groups of organisms that have prokaryotic cells, relatively small and simple cells that have lack what? A nucleus or other compartments bounded by internal membranes. Bacteria and archaea have no nucleus. Their internal compartments are not organized in membrane-bounded organelles or membrane-bounded compartments. Archaea are prokaryotes, as their cells have no what? Nucleus and membrane-bounded organelles. Their range of size is similar to bacteria. Bacteria እና አርኪያዎች በመጠናቸው almost ተመሳሳይ ናቸው። Many archaea exhibit extreme environments. Many archaea exhibit inhibit what? Extreme environments. Extreme environments means an environment which is highly hot or hottest or coldest environment. But though other higher organisms cannot resist those extreme environments, so this makes them special. Many archaea extremely live in hottest what? In coldest environments. Bacteria are what? As we have learned in the preface, prokaryotic cells, as they have no nucleus. The genetic material is found in a circular fashion. But in higher organisms, in multicellular organisms, the genetic makeup is found in a nucleus. But in archaea and bacteria, they don't have a nucleus, they don't have a membrane-bounded organelles. They are small organisms. Bacteria and archaea are small organisms that vary in size between that of the largest virus and the smallest single cell eukaryotes. The major differences between archaea and bacteria is the composition of cell wall and cell membrane. They use what? They use the chlorophyll for photosynthesis to make their own food. But bacteria, but not by archaea. Bacteria, some bacteria can make their own food since they have what? Chlorophyll that traps the light energy. The other is archaea. Archaea metageneration is sensitive to some antibiotics. Eukaryotes have what? Eukaryotes have relatively large. When you compare the size of archaea and bacteria, they are smaller, but eukarya have relatively large and complex cells. What makes them, the eukaryotic cells, large? That is the presence of what? The presence of cell wall or other organelles that are what? Membrane-bounded organelles are present in eukaryotes and other enclosed compartments. They are grouped into the domain eukarya. What does mean by eukarya? This is your homework. What does mean by eukarya? The domain eukarya includes protists, fungi, plants, and animals. The domain eukarya have a great diversity of forms. They are what? Unicellular organisms. Even they are what? Eukaryote. They are colonial. They can live in a group of organisms. There. And the other is multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms. So, now let us see what are the differences and similarities of those three domains of organisms. That is archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. When you come to archaea and bacteria, they don't have a nucleus. Both they don't have membrane-bounded organelles. Their DNA material in bacteria and archaea exists as a circular fashion. But when it came to eukarya, cells have what? A nucleus and membrane-bounded organelles. The genetic material of an organism, is arranged as linear chromosomes with histone proteins. DNA ribosome, when it came to ribosome of archaea, similar to what? Bacteria. Ribosome of archaea and bacteria are similar. Ribosome, when it came to in eukarya, ribosome different from both what? Archaea and bacteria. Both bacteria and archaea, they are what? Unicellular, colonial, and multicellular. Eukaryotes are what? Unicellular, multicellular organisms. Cell wall in archaea, cell wall does not contain peptidoglycan. But what? Bacteria. Cells divide both in bacteria and archaea by what? Binary fission. They are both what? Both archaea and bacteria what? Unicellular or in some ways colonial. But when it came to in eukarya, many different ways of reproducing. That is either sexually or asexually. When we come to the word K-term in biology, we have to study the K-terms. That is what? The first K-term in biology is here. That today's lesson main word is what? Bacteria. Bacteria is the most diverse and well-known group of single-celled organisms. Even they are single-celled, they are most diversified. That lack what? A nucleus. Bacteria have no what? Nucleus and membrane-bounded organelles. They don't have membrane-bounded organelles. The other is class. What is class? In hierarchy, in classification hierarchy, there is a class. So what does it mean by class? It is what? A taxon of similar orders. If you ask it, blank is a taxon of similar orders. You have to answer what? You have to write what? Class. What are eukaryotes? Cells with what? A nucleus and a membrane-bounded organelles. What is family means? In biology, family means similar of genera. And when it came to genera, similar of what? A species. By the way, species is the smallest and most similar organisms can be found here. What is kingdom? A taxon of what? Similar phyla. Similar phyla, which includes kingdom, includes, as we have learned in the previous one, most diversified organisms. Another is order, taxon of similar families. A phylum, when it came to a phylum, it's a taxon of similar classes. What are prokaryotic cells? They are what? Unicellular organisms. They don't have a nucleus. They don't have what? A membrane-bounded organelles. A species what? Unique type of organisms. A species are a unique type of organisms. Taxon means a group of organisms that share a unique set of traits. What does it mean by traits? It will be what? Your homework. When you come to species, because species have very similar traits in common. What are the character features of a species? A species is what? A group of organisms. A group of organisms similar organism is called species. That is why a group of organisms that have what? Similar characteristics that can reproduce each other to produce fertile offspring. That is, a species means they can reproduce, but the offspring should be also what? Fertile. The offspring should be what? Fertile. All cats, for example, belong to what? Same species, but they are a wide variation in the appearance of different breeds. They are what? Many other definitions of species. Those are what? Phylogenetic species, morphological species, evolutionary species, recognition species, systematic species. There are many different types of species are there. However, for a biological species, members could reproduce to produce fertile offspring, to give a fertile offspring. Members of a species also often resemble each other very closely in appearance. For today it is enough. Here in the in the next video we are going to learn about the relevance of classification, the need, the advantage of classification. For now, goodbye. We will meet in the next video by taking a note of even the characteristics of archaeans. Even the characteristics of eukarya and bacteria will be presented in the coming video. For now, bye.